days of irreligion, at that time, I dissent myself. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Please excuse me. The word Srajami is significant here. Srajami cannot be used in the sense of creation because, according to the previous verse, there is no creation of the Lord's form or body, since all of the forms are eternally existent. Therefore, Srajami means the Lord manifests himself as he is. Although the Lord appears on a schedule, namely at the end of the Dwapar Yuga of the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu in one day of Brahma. I will pause here. Last week, my memory was not serving me right. I was getting confused whether it is 26th or 28th, but I now stand corrected, and there are some information which, as they say, GTK, good to know information. So you may want to note it down or memorize it. This gives you some kind of perspective about the time scales. So let us begin. This particular yuga, which is known as the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the duration of this age is 432,000 years. Right before this yuga was Dwapar Yuga, and it was twice the duration that would be of Kali Yuga. So therefore the duration would be 864,000 years, human years. And if you go to the yuga previous to Dwapar, that is called Treta Yuga, and the duration of that yuga is 3 times the duration of Kali Yuga, and therefore 1296,000 human years. And prior to Treta Yuga was Sati Yuga, and it was of 17,000, sorry, how should we put it? 1.728 million human years. So 432,000, 864,000, or what you call in our language, it would go as 4,32,000, 8,64,000, 12,96,000, and 17 lakh. I'm sorry, 28,000. So like that, these four, yugs are there. And when you combine them together, the total is 43 lakh 20,000 years, 4.32 million human years. This clubbed together is known as Chaturyugi. Now, there are 1,000 such Chaturyugi in one day of Brahma. And there are 14 Manavantars, durations of the life of Manu, the leader of the mankind. So, when you look at the duration age of Manu, it is 71 Chaturyugis, which means 71 into 4.32 million human years. That's the average age of a Manu. So the question may be asked that, Prabhu, you said 1,000 Chaturyugis and you said 14 Manus, but 14 sevens are 98. So what about the other two Chaturyugis? Those two Chaturyugis are called the period of twilight or Sandhya, which means it is neither day nor night, that kind of a scenario. So in 1,000 Chaturyugis, two Chaturyugis occur when in Brahma's life it is the phase of twilight, which means Sandhya, and three times Sandhya occurs. Traditionally, we relate the word Sandhya with evening sunset, a period just after that. But that's incorrect definition. Sandhya occurs three times in the morning hour, uh, when the moon is setting and the sun is rising. And then it occurs at the 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Sandhya takes place. And third time it occurs in the evening. Therefore, during the moments of twilight, the rigid followers of Vedic culture stop other activities and they immediately absorb themselves in the meditation upon the Supreme Brahman. It's a beautiful way of living life. Like, as long as body cooperates, even in our international society for Krishna consciousness, after the Harinam initiation, the second initiation is called Brahman initiation. And when Brahman initiation, the ideal time to perform Gayatri, not just the way, fashionably we parrot out the Gayatri mantra, very methodically, particularly devotees in the male body, they have the Janev thread and they tie it in their thumb, and then they chant certain number of times that mantra three times a day. What does that mean? It means they suspend their routine activities. These routine activities may be of any nature. You may have to go to office, you may have to meet, a relative, any of these things, you know, um, you can suspend and absorb yourself in the process of meditating upon the Supreme Brahman. That is called Sandhya. Similarly, in the life of Brahma also, out of 1,000 Chaturyogis, for two Chaturyogis, he suspends the activities and he meditates upon the Supreme Brahman, the way each one of us ideally should be doing. 980, sorry. So 20 Chaturyogis, not two. I'm sorry about it. So 980 Chaturyogis are there, under which various, what you call, apology for this minor mistake here. When you multiply 14 with 71, it would be 14 ones are 14, 4, and uh, 14 sevens are 98. And how much is that? 1 second, please. Just a second.
Prabhuji, 994. Calculate.
Correct. So the 6 Chaturyugis are the period of Sandhya. The remaining all belong to various Manus. And now, how rare is Lord's appearance? I'm talking about the Supreme Person. Please recall the previous class where the Lord uses the term Atma Mayaya. And then he says that, by my own internal potency, I manifest in my form as I am. That's the main thing, as I am. So that particular form, you know, it's not Lord Vishnu, it's not incarnation, it's the Supreme Person Himself. He occurs, he not occurs, I'm sorry, he appears in the seventh, after the seventh Manvantar is finished. And then the 28 Chaturyugis have gotten spent, Then in the Dwapar Yuga, the Lord appears, which means, and that incarnation happened just 5,000 years back. That's the rarity. if you can relate with what I'm saying. That is how rare Krishna's appearance is. That, you know, he does not uh, appear in every millennium after millennium like this. In his own form, he just appears once in the day of Brahma. And whenever he does that, Lord Chaitanya also appears right after that. Now, imagine when will Krishna appear again in this very form, where he will manifest Parakiya Bhav, not Swakiya Bhav. Extremely rare. So here, Prabhupada is saying, although the Lord appears on schedule, namely at the end of the Dwapar Yuga of the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu. This is 7th Manu. Right now we are under the 7th Manu. And then if you want, there are 14 such Manus in one day of Brahma. So 4.32 million into 1000 becomes 12 hours of Lord Brahma. When you multiply it by 2, it becomes 8.64, into 1000 millions of years. And this way Brahma lives for 100 years. So it is 100 into 365 into 8.64 million years into 1000. That is the lifespan of Lord Brahma. And after that, Lord Brahma, leaves body. So this is how it is to be understood. Uh, we live in an age, dear devotees, where we give a lot of value to data. But when you come to Vedic literature, sutra is of paramount importance, not data. Sutra. That's why they call Brahma Sutra, Vedanta Sutra. If you don't understand this word properly, sutra, then you understand the word theorem. Most of you are, science background. You don't need, I'm just talking about high school level maths. We know that if I have to find in an arithmetic progression nth series, then I'm going to go for a plus n minus 1 into d. I know it. Now there can be millions of manifestations born out of the same formula, but big deal. You may create any arithmetic progression based series, and I'll tell you that this is the nth term. Then there is one for finding, the sum of the same arithmetic progression. And then you also know the formula. But first you get some data, some link, then you arrive at the theorem, and then you feel relaxed because then you know the subject. Similarly, in Vedic knowledge also, you should try for what is the sutra here. So in this case, what all can you learn by knowing this information? The first impression was, oh, Brahma lives for such a huge age. This is Brahma's age. The second perhaps can be, our Vedic literature, it has got all the information that you need. It's a different tangent altogether, which is not required. Nobody gave you the job of marketing manager of Vedic way of living. No, it is our prestige, Prabhu. We should know what our culture is. What we just know that everybody, from an ant to Lord Brahma, whether in a European body or in an American body, calling Krishna, Allah, calling Father of Jesus by multiple names, is actually addressing to their own father. That is the true spirit of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Don't get into this trap. Just become Sanatani. That will be your biggest service to humanity, biggest ever. Then there can be people who may think that it demands research, boss. You know, how did you arrive at this data? Apart from Bhagavad Gita, is there any other literature where there is this proof? In other parts of the world, in other religions, do they talk about it? That's another tangent. These are all diversions. Their nature is different. That's it. Some are in wow, some are in the marketing of Sanatan Dharma, some are into verifying this information, but nobody has got the right mindset in which information of this nature should be absorbed. The right mindset is to understand the mammothness, the vastness of the Lord's creation and the orderliness in Lord's creation. And by that, looking at how much Krishna engages himself to take us out of this place. Birth after birth, he creates facilities so that we can enjoy. And then he waits till the time we, you know, redirect our attention towards him. He does not force, but he creates facilities and he patiently waits. So after, assimilating or coming across any such information, the right attitude is, by hearing about this, I now have more respect for Krishna. I have more love for him. I have more affection for him. I have got some hatred in my heart about my perpetual propensity to enjoy my senses or gratify my senses. I'm not liking myself for this. These are all the right inferences of hearing this information, not those tangents where you heard it and you got into all these different things. Every time, every class ultimately needs to result into more reasons to love God. And they should not be forced reasons. Don't try to, prematurely, uh, forcefully develop affection. But like a smooth, water flowing, like that. The information shall just enter through the ear holes and purify the intelligence. That the Lord has made such elaborate arrangement. He is into, he first lies down in, Shira Sagar, Shiro Dakashai Vishnu. He also lies down in Karan Samudra, causal ocean, Karano Dakashai, and also in Garbha ocean, Garbho Dakashai, three Vishnus. In Karan ocean, from his, what they call in Hindi, Roma Chidra, the pores, the skin pores, from those pores, multiple universes are sprouting. So he is the cause of the generation of universe. Okay. But you know what? In each universe, he himself again lies down as Garbhodakashai, which means anything that sprouts from him is perfectly managed by himself only again. Then we all take birth in various planets of this Brahmand or this universe. But in our region of our heart is Shirasagar. He lives there as well. And he witnesses each and every thought that we have. He's doing it perpetually since eternity. So from macro management to micro management, he's alone. And he never gets tired. Then in each universe, he has a Brahma. And Brahma is assigned. Brahma is the second engineer. He's not the first engineer. It's like, suppose a husband is, in Vedic way of life, I'm talking about. He earns, he purchases everything, grocery. So he becomes the first engineer. Then wife cooks out of what he has given. So wife becomes the second engineer. So Lord Vishnu is the first engineer. He's the creator, in first creator. Lord Brahma is dependent upon Lord Vishnu. So Srajami, and Prabhupada said it is a significant word because it's not that something else creates the Lord. Atma Mayaya, out of his own will, his internal energy. He doesn't need any reason to, to appear. He can appear. Still, Prabhupada uses the word on schedule. So, Lord has his own schedule. He will appear in the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu. In a day of Brahma, Krishna comes, and when Krishna comes, right after him, Lord Chaitanya comes. Now I'm telling you the most dangerous thing. I don't know how many of you will find it most dangerous, but I'm trying to sensitize. I have shared this twice or thrice. Right after this Supreme Personality of Godhead's appearance, Lord Chaitanya appears. Then Lord Chaitanya also does not appear for the one full day. That means if we don't accept the mercy of Mahaprabhu, now our path to liberation and to Krishna Prem is going to be very, very difficult. And we might have to wait for the one full cycle, because then we'll be living for 7 more Manus, then 1000 Chaturyugi worth night of Brahma in which we will be inactive, and then again Brahma will wake up and we will undergo 7 more Manus worth lifetime, 6 at least, and then the 28th Manvanta, Chaturyugi. It's a hell lot of a time. 4.32 into million years into 1000 into 2, because you have the night also. We will get stuck for so long. On a very simple note, every time when you read something, if you trust it completely and start living by that, your appreciation for Krishna will increase. This is the underlying approach with which you should hear, you should read, not with the 3-4 reasons I gave you. This Sanatan culture, our culture, better culture, Europeans suck and Americans suck and this and that. And these are all distractions. Prabhupada used to say, you are sitting in a boat, the boat is taking you from one side to another. Just wait for your turn to come and get out of the boat. Don't try to make relationships here. Don't take sides. Just know that you have to go out of it. So spend your time like that. Let's now read further. He therefore appears by his own will whenever there is a predominance of irreligiosity and a disappearance of true religion. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancy in the matter of properly executing the rule of the Vedas makes one irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that such principles are the laws of the I'm sorry, laws of the Lord. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as originally the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dharmam to Sakshat Bhagavad Pranitam. Oh, I'm sorry. Spoken by the Lord Himself to Brahma from within his heart. Therefore, the principle of Dharma or religion are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dharmam to Sakshat Bhagavad Pranitam. These principles are clearly indicated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such principles under the order of the Supreme Lord. And the Lord directly orders at the end of the Gita that the highest principle of religion is to surrender unto Him only and nothing more. The Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto Him, and whenever such principles are disturbed by the demoniac, the Lord appears from the bhag from the Lord appears. Okay, from the sorry, from the Bhagavatam we understand that Lord Brahma is the incarnation of Krishna who appeared when materialism. Sorry, from the what is happening? Let me
Buddha
just.
Prabhuji, not Brahma.
Yeah. Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Krishna who appeared when materialism was rampant and materialists were using the pretext of the authority of the Vedas. Although there are certain restrictive rules and regulations regarding animal sacrifice for particular purposes in the Vedas, people of demoniac tendency still took to animal sacrifice without reference to the Vedic principles. Lord Buddha appeared in order to stop this nonsense and to establish the Vedic principles of non-violence. Therefore, excuse me, each and every avatar or incarnation of the Lord has a particular mission, and they are all described in the revealed scriptures. No one should be accepted as an avatar unless he is referred to by scriptures. It is not a fact that the Lord appears only on Indian soil. He can manifest himself anywhere and everywhere, and whenever he desires to appear. In each and every incarnation, he speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstances. But the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he descends personally, and sometimes he sends his bona fide representative in the form of his son or servant or himself in some disguised form. We will have to pause here and we'll, because it's, oh, only this much is left. Fine. The principles of the Bhagavad Gita were spoken to Arjun and for that matter to other highly elevated persons because he was highly advanced compared to ordinary persons in other parts of the world. 2 plus 2 equals 4 is a mathematical principle that is true in the beginner's arithmetic class and in the advanced class as well. Still, there are higher and lower mathematics. In all incarnations of the Lord, therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in varied circumstances. The higher principle of religion begins with the acceptance of the four orders and the four statuses of social life, as will be explained later. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnation is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest and non manifest only under different circumstances. Very complex purport and lengthy one. I might miss out on some aspects. We will take them up if it so happens next week. First, understand. Uh, okay, let me take the last latter half of the purport first, because I know you remember them right now. This aspect of some people saying that भगवान बस इंडिया में ही पैदा हुए और कहीं हुए ही नहीं, that kind of a mentality, and you also must have heard about it. Then in the last paragraph, somewhere in the middle, Prabhupada is saying that it depends on where you are currently. He uses the word circumstances. Higher mathematics, higher Vedic civilization, which means it will begin with four orders. Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam, which means, one second. The Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahmin. And then four ashram: Brahmachari, Grahast, Vanaprasth, Sannyas. Now understand it. Why did Prabhupada say this is for the elevated people? Because most of us are even struggling to qualify for the Shudra status of life. That is true. Most of us. Because one, first qualification of being a Shudra is faith in God. He has it. That is why he follows the Vedic injunction of serving the other three, classes of people. The job of a Shudra is to render menial service to the Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahmin. I mean, if I get into the details of it, we will get into the detail when the right verse comes. I'm just touching and moving on from here. That we are not even there. Below this, there is a long list of people who also have some piety. Dog eaters also have some element of mercy. They do. People who have no family relationships, no value for them, they marry within families. Even they have some element of purity. But they are not at the level of a Shudra. Shudra is very high. Malich, Yavan. When you use the word Malech, which means unclean. When you use the word Yavan, it means merciless. Very expert in animal killing, slaughter. Bali, halal, haram, all of that. So these people, and they are spread throughout the world. So then the Lord sometimes sends his son. Prabhupada, when he used the word son, he was referring to Jesus. Prabhupada said, confidential incarnation. He was referring to Lord Chaitanya. Then he sends his pure devotees, from Narad Muni to many devotees who keep coming from time to time. And they are spread throughout in all the religions. Now understand the main thing. Their level is not of, they are all lower mathematics. So they only deserve 2 plus 2 equals to 4. They can't digest anything more than that. But at least they deserve that much. So they should get it. Krishna takes care of that. I'll tell you one real life incident. Once I was when I used to work at that time, I came to Navdeep Mandal Parikrama, and I was, overwhelmed with all the experiences of Navadvip Dham. And then while returning, I was deeply missing Sridham Mayapur, and it was a very long journey back to Delhi. So right in front of us in our bogie, there was this one family from Bengal, and from their conduct, everything was dirty. Everything, the way they were eating, the way they were talking, the way they were sitting, it was not reflecting any class, manners basically. But guess what? During the evening, they also took out their bead bags, and they said, our Guruji has told us to chant only 4 rounds, not 16. And I was so happy that Krishna doesn't hate any of his children. Whoever can understand whatever little, the Lord makes sure that person receives it. What high, what high, supreme level of tolerance. I'm using the word, the conduct was disgusting. But Krishna did not see all of that. He just saw one faint desire, and he said, okay, fine, try giving half an hour to me. And I'm telling you, by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, that family will also receive Krishna Prem. Please excuse my throat, it's just that I seem to have gotten some allergy into it. So it's a very itching feeling, and I have to keep on clearing my throat. So you understand that Shudra is very high level. When we are missing on our rounds, or when we are watching one series or another series on Netflix, or when we are into some romantic comedy, or into some situational comedy, or into any of this, just know that these modes have been present in us in the past, and before they completely disappear, they will raise their hoods, and if we pay too much attention to them, we run the risk of falling down. So there are moments where we are also non-Shudra. Because Shudra serves, he dutifully serves, and he thereby elevates his consciousness. That's why Prabhupada is using the word higher maths. He's equating it to that. Therefore, Vedic way of life is considered the best way of life. But it is very difficult to pull it off. Now I'm just quickly touching upon the main thing about rise, prominence of irreligion. Quickly understand religion and irreligion. Prabhupada used or mentioned dharmam to sakshat Bhagavad pranita. What is religion is given in Vedic scriptures. These Vedic scriptures are to be taken as direct instruction of the Lord. Therefore, the Vedas are called a Parushaya. No human created them.